Edvard Munch was born in 1863 in a small Norwegian village surrounded by cold mountains and deep fjords. From the very beginning, his life was touched by sadness. His mother died of tuberculosis when he was just 5 years old, and a few years later, his beloved sister Sophie passed away from the same disease. The young Edvard grew up in a house filled not with laughter, but with the sound of coughing and prayers. His father, a strict religious man, taught him that death was always near, that suffering was a test of faith. But to Edvard, it felt like a shadow that never left. He found comfort not in words, but in drawing. He filled pages with sketches of faces, eyes, and crosses. His art became the only place he could speak without fear. He later said, "Disease, insanity, and death were the black angels that kept watch over my cradle." From these early tragedies, the seed of his art was planted, a longing to express pain and beauty together. As Edvard grew older, he decided to study art in Oslo. At first, his paintings followed the traditional style, realistic, careful, proper. But the more he painted, the more he realized realism couldn't express what he truly felt. He didn't want to just paint how things looked. He wanted to paint how they felt. He began to experiment with colors that spoke instead of described, pale greens for sickness, dark reds for fear, soft blues for loneliness. Critics were shocked. They called his paintings ugly, unfinished, even disturbing. But Munch didn't care. He once wrote, "I do not paint what I see, but what I saw." Every brushstroke was an emotion. Every face was a memory. His painting, The Sick Child, inspired by his sister Sophie, was his first true masterpiece. People called it depressing, but to Munch, it was a tribute to love and loss. He had found his language, one made not of words, but of color, texture, and silence. Munch's adult life was full of longing and heartbreak. He loved deeply, but his relationships were stormy. He often felt torn between love and fear, the desire to be close and the terror of losing again. His art began to reflect that conflict. In The Kiss, he painted two lovers merging into one shape, beautiful yet suffocating. In Vampire, he showed a woman bending over a man, her red hair flowing like blood, half love and half destruction. These paintings were not about others, they were about himself. He saw love as something fragile, poisoned by memory and loss. The more he searched for peace, the more he felt trapped by his emotions. He wrote in his diary, "From my rotting body, flowers shall grow, and I am in them, and that is eternity." His work became a mirror of the human soul, fragile, beautiful, and always afraid. One evening in 1893, Munch was walking along a bridge near Oslo with his friends. The sun began to set, and the sky turned a deep, burning red. He stopped and felt something strange, a wave of anxiety, a tremor in his body, as if nature itself was screaming. He wrote, "I sensed a great, infinite scream pass through nature." That moment became his most famous painting. The scream, the swirling sky, the distorted landscape, and the agonized figure. It wasn't about fear of something outside. It was about the fear within, the panic, the isolation, the sense that the world itself was trembling. When it was first shown, people were horrified. They said it was madness, not art. But over time, the world realized the scream wasn't about insanity. It was about humanity, about how fragile we all are. Munch had painted what every soul feels at least once, the silent cry no one can hear. After years of fame and pressure, Munch's health began to decline. He suffered from anxiety and hallucinations, and in 1908, he checked himself into a clinic in Copenhagen. But even there, surrounded by white walls and silence, he never stopped painting. He filled his room with canvases, self-portraits, trees, landscapes, all reflecting his fragile state of mind. His self-portrait showed his eyes tired but burning with life. He once said, "Art comes from joy and pain, but mostly from pain." When he finally left the hospital, he retreated to the countryside, where he lived quietly among his paintings and animals. He painted the changing seasons, the warmth of sunlight, and the peaceful fields. The storm inside him began to fade, replaced by acceptance. Edvard Munch lived until 1944. He spent his final years quietly, surrounded by the works of a lifetime. He never married, but he had found peace in his solitude. When he passed away, over 1,000 paintings were found in his home, the record of a man who turned suffering into art. His influence can be seen everywhere, in expressionism, in modern art, and in every artist who dares to paint not the surface of life, but the feeling beneath it. Munch taught the world that art doesn't have to be pretty. It has to be true. And through that truth, he gave voice to the silent scream that lives in all of us, transforming pain into something eternal, something human, something beautiful.